Hello, hello. So just another update on progress that's been made over the past few days. Quite a bit, actually. So I'm pleased. And some things arrived. Some exciting things arrived. And I'm about to get the main delivery. So I've just paid the customs and duty in a couple of days. The big ticket items come, the seat, the exhaust, shocks, you name it. So I'll just run through what's arrived and what progress has been made. It's been quite interesting. First of all, during the course of the week, I had the tyres put on the wheels. And everywhere I went on that particular day over the weekend was closed and couldn't help me. So ultimately I drove around and found a place that was a bit of a backyard place. And they said they could do it. They didn't do motorcycle tyres too often, but they could make a plan. So I was like, okay. As it turned out, it didn't go very well at all. When I finally got the wheels back, the tyres weren't seated correctly. They sort of like dipped into the rim on the one corner. So I was a bit worried about that. You can see not only had I never taken tyres off, I'd never put them back on. So as it turns out, that happens with some wheels and tyres. I took it to another guy in Pukekohe who apparently deals with difficult tyres. He pushed it up to like 100 psi. It all popped out perfectly, and yay! So the tyres and the wheels are good to go, which is good because of all of the brake discs and pads and everything has arrived. So we can rebuild, and the kit, the seal kit for the calipers has arrived. So all of that work can now start, which is awesome. Okay, but in terms of progress, so I tackled the triple clamp and the bearing at the bottom. Man, that was a dog to get off. I watched the Chris Harris YouTubes and he made it look easy. Jeepers, did I fight with it. This is sort of what was left after I had chopped and cut and bulldozed the thing. I ended up actually having to go and buy a new Dremel tool and sit and cut finely for a while. And even after doing that and hammering, man, it took a long time. But finally got them out, and so I could start painting. So taped it all up and did a couple of coats. There's just an example of a primer and then what it looks like painted. Now the paint that I'm using here is a special paint I got from a motorcycle shop in East Tamaki or Botany area. Quite expensive, but very high quality and lovely to work with. It really feels nice when it comes out. It's kind of like glossy caliper paint, but smells horrendous, but actually it has a really great result. Then some things arrived. So the Tenet arrived, yay! And because I bought the Café racer kit, it came all wired and ready to go with the display. So I can't wait to get stuck into that. It does look a bit intimidating, but the documentation looks fairly good, so I'm hoping it will be straightforward once I figure out the loom. So that'll go into a box for a little while. The Brembo discs from the front arrived, both sides, but they'd basically been worn out, so I decided to get a whole new package along with discs, along with pads. So that was great. Brembos. They look OEM, so they're not fancy. They'll just fit with the standard wheels. I then tackled the sump. So we had previously cleaned the sump. I took the filter housing thing off just to have a look, and then ended up getting a bit more courageous and took the whole sump off. It looks pretty messy in this picture, but actually I fiddled and played with the sediment at the bottom. There wasn't much. There was nothing shiny. There was a very small accumulation of basically nothing. So it was actually really, really clean. And more interestingly enough, actually inside the sump itself, you can see the oil pump. And it may look all dark, but actually there's no sediment. There's nothing inside. It's really, really clean and tidy. You take your finger and rub it over the black side on the left, and nothing comes off on your finger. So it looks pretty good. I'm pretty excited by that. So obviously it must have been cleaned or had work done. That's not 38 years old, that's for sure. So yeah, pretty happy with that. Then I tackled, after much cleaning, I tackled priming of that sump. tray, and a couple of coats of top coat as well. This is caliper paint that I'm using now. I really think that the finish comes out very nicely, and it's also, you know, high temperature, so safe. I then started with the discs. I sanded them down. It was pretty heartbreaking to sand down brand new discs. It also took me an age to get the discs separated from the actual housing here, because one of the screws wouldn't come out, so it took a bit of a while. I ended up having to Dremel out and use a normal standard screwdriver to get the one screw out, which I then replaced from Mitre 10, same exact screw. So there's a second coat of primer, and yeah, I think they came out really nicely, and after a couple of coats as well, look pretty good. And there I am, just reassembling them all. There's all the screws, machine screws and washers, and reassembling them. So that took me to today, and then today the next step was taken by painting the engine. But before doing that, I have got a few clips of some of the work that we've just described, which I might just put into this video.
Okay, so I am going to try and get the sump and the oil filter cover painted tonight, because then I can cook it and cure it so that it's good and strong. Put it back on, and then we can turn the engine over without worrying about stripping the paint off. I might even try and paint a little bit more. The goal is to try and get the bike back on its feet tomorrow. So this needs to be all painted tonight, the bottom at least. So we'll see how we go. At the moment, I'm just taking off the sump. I've got the new bolt kit that's arrived. That's cool. So I'll be replacing all of these bolts with nice shiny new stainless steel ones. So I don't mind spraying them. Wow, I wasn't expecting it to come off. I thought I would need this. Okay. There's the fuel pump. There's the the oil pump, oil filter. And not a lot of bead left, interestingly enough. So this looks pretty good condition, actually. Pretty happy with that. So we'll be replacing all of these beads with new gasket maker. Let's get it off from now. And I want to have a look at the condition of the oil, because this is where the oil has been sitting. Come on, sticky. Well, the oil is clean. I mean, it's dirty, and there's a fine sediment, but it's very, very fine. And I'm not seeing anything glistening in it at all, so that is a good sign as well. I might shine a light on there. I'll be honest with you, this is a very, very clean motor inside. Very, very clean. I'm extremely impressed. I've seen plenty of these online and they look full of rubbish. Not rubbish, but just they look, you know, they're just not clean. This is clean. Okay, so this is as clean as I've got it. I don't need it any cleaner than that. I just need it clean enough to be able to not create fumes when I cook it, when I cure it in the oven. Otherwise my wife will be annoyed, deeply annoyed. Okay, I just don't know about these things. I don't know what these are and whether I can put them in the oven. They're either plastic. Oh wait, it looks like they come out. I might just egg one out and just see. I don't want to put that in the oven. Okay, I got them out. I don't know what they're for. They're just like lugs. Maybe they're for dampening or something, I'm not sure. But I won't be putting them in the oven, so I'll just leave them here. Okay, finally got them all off. and I've just sanded them down. It's quite difficult to see my brand new rotor rims scuffed up after just buying them, but anyway, hopefully they are now ready to spray. Okay, so I've got all of these done. They came out really nicely, and so did that actually. Pretty happy with the engine sump. Different paints, so that's caliper paint. That is the special vinyl paint. Here's caliper paint, and here's the standard engine paint. I actually prefer the caliper paint. So yeah, we may want to adjust some of the paint. I'm not sure. This is not very visible, but you can just see the difference in the black paints I'm using. Interesting. So Daryl, why don't you work? I'm on holiday. I've taken leave, but we are getting ready to spray the engine underside at least.
Okay.
Should we try and get it out?
Do this. I'm not happy, but let's do it.
We've got to rub the lucky boobs.
Did you put that on video though?
Yeah. Okay, let me go and get the paint.
The views of Stuart are not necessarily shared by other participants of the video. Hold minute.
So that I've used too much. You're getting some practice.